Welcome to the We're Not Experts History Podcast. We're really not experts, just history fans. And before we begin, there is just one warning for listeners: may cause drowsiness. Today's podcast is about the murders of Albert and Emma Watson in Basildon, Essex, known as the Honeypot Lane murders. The summer of 1906 was a hot, dry one. With no water on tap in the area, the residents of Honeypot Lane had to rely on water from ponds to drink and to give to their animals. Of course, this was no different for Albert and Emma Watson, who had a very well-tended small holding with a garden and animals. They had no water on their land, so were given permission by neighbour Mr. Buckham to collect water from a pond on his land at Sawyer's Farm. Local historian Jessie K. Payne in Basildon, A Pictorial History, explained that Honeypot Lane became impassable during winter because of the yellow London clay, hence the reference to a honeypot in the road name. In 1906, Honeypot Lane was a lot longer than it is today, and there's a lot more houses along it than there was in 1906. It was a tree-lined track over 100 years ago. Mr. Buckham would walk the several miles from his home to London train station every morning to go to work in London. Wednesday the 23rd of August 1906 was one of those days, and the Watsons had gone down to the pond to collect water for their animals. Later that morning, a passerby was stopped by two brothers, Robert and Richard Buckham. The passerby was informed that the Watsons had drowned in the pond. A police officer was summoned from Billericay and moved the bodies into their bungalow. His sergeant was called and he examined the bodies to find wounds on both. The following day, the younger of the two brothers, Robert, broke down and admitted to police that his brother had shot the Watsons. The house was searched and two guns were found. Richard and Robert were charged with the murder and were found guilty at the inquest. The case was heard in November 1906, and the younger brother Robert, who was 16 at the time, was acquitted of the murder. His brother was not so lucky. Richard's mental state was examined. He suffered from headaches, and mental illness ran in the family. The court were told Emma Watson had been shot twice, requiring Richard to have reloaded the shotgun to shoot her again. On the 4th of December 1906, Richard was hanged at Chelmsford Prison. This murder case is thought to be one of the first to have taken the defendant's mental state into account. Mr. and Mrs. Watson were buried in the graveyard of St Mary Magdalene's in Great Burstead. A large crowd turned out to pay their respects to their murdered neighbours. Robert Buckham, the younger of the two brothers, having been acquitted, went on to have a distinguished military career, receiving an award for his actions during the First World War. Thank you for listening to the We're Not Experts History Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at We're Not Experts Podcast, where you will also find our link tree on the profile page. If you enjoyed the podcast, please give us a like on whichever app you listen to and share with your friends.